Welcome to Paper Cut Crafts. Today I'm going to do an alternate to the April Paper Pumpkin Kit. So this particular card, I am using part of the card, and instead of having a Z fold to the side, I've decided to try and do one of the alternates that's actually listed on the back of the instruction pamphlet and have it opening up and down. So I'm going to be using all the pieces out of the kit, as well as the ink and embellishments. I do try and limit anything else outside of that for the purpose of full alternates, but still using as much as the kit as possible. So I am punching out die cut pieces that are provided in the kit, and then I will be assembling them using glue dots as well as snail. And here is my finished card. Very simple and quick. For the next card, I'm going to use some espresso cardstock. I'm folding it the long way so that it opens from the bottom as my base for the card. And I'm going to use parts of the other card base that came in this kit. I liked the different colors and different aspects of it, but I wanted to use them in a different way. So I went ahead and cut on the score lines for the second card base of this kit and cut those pieces off so I could use them in the use of this card. I'm going to use the green part as the ground, just like it is in the original card, except that it's not attached. It will be part of the mat. And instead of using the front piece where the kit had us putting the stamp on to make the tree, I am going to actually flip it over and use it as a base for my own tree that I will build using the stamps from the kit. The only difference with the inks, I am going to add the espresso ink so that I can use that as the trunk color, as well as shaded spruce for the leaves. These listings of colors can be found on the back of the instructions that come in the kit. They always have a list of the colors that were used, as well as the embellishments and everything that is in the kit. When I stamped the top image for the leaves, I noticed that it didn't quite come off the stamp cleanly, so I just pulled out my matching marker and colored in those leaves just to give them a little bit more of a filled in look. It wasn't too bad, but sometimes that happens when you are stamping, that you just don't get a full stamp. But with matching markers, you can just color them in fairly easily. Now here I'm pulling out my marker again, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with this tree. It was kind of floating, so I needed to give it some ground or grass or something to stand on. So I decided that I was just going to draw it in. So I'm just giving it a little grass to stand on around the edges. And as it went along, I just started filling it in a little bit more and to create just a hill. The little motions that I make with the marker kind of give it a more grassy look instead of just a colored in look. Now I'm going to add some embellishments to the tree. So the kit has these little birds die cuts. So I'm just popping a couple of those out. I'm going to add those to my tree. And also there's some ribbon with this kit. And I decided to use that as a little bit of a highlight color strip across the bottom. Here I've decided that the edging could use a little bit of a highlight. It's a little bare, so I'm using a sponge dauber, or you could also use just a sponge, and I'm just feathering the edge of the card with the matching ink for the tree. I'm just giving it kind of a glow kind of effect, or a feathered effect around the edge, just to give it a little bit of a pop. It's like a matte, but not as strong pointed as a matte would be underneath it. And you just apply that with a light feathery touch with a sponge dauber or a sponge. And then I'm going to add these birds on using a dimensional on each one. Here I'm adding both these, and then later discovered that both my birds are facing the same direction, and the kit does come with opposite directional birds. So I do replace one of the birds with a bird that's actually facing into the tree. Doing this causes a little bit of a problem with the dimensionals because they are permanent, but it did come up well enough that I could replace the bird without damaging the card too much. This kit also comes with enamel dots that are a real nice addition to any sparse spots, and they kind of add a little jewel highlight to the tree. So I just add a few into the tree here. As I'm attaching the two matte pieces together, I run out of snail. So the next little piece here shows you how to change out your snail. Fairly easy, it just pops apart and you put it back together. I am not including the item numbers for these since they are retiring. They will be replaced with something new. decided that I don't really like how the green piece outstretches the white piece. So I'm just trimming it down so that they match and have a uniform length or width through them. And then I'm going to go ahead and just straighten out the bottom so it's just a nice straight cut. I noticed that was a little bit of a off cut. And then I'm just going to attach this to my main piece of my card with using some snail. I'm attaching the ribbon now. I'm going to use the tear and tape. I find this is the best for ribbon. It's easy to maneuver and place, and it is very permanent. The ribbon sticks very nicely to it. You just have to put it down, and it has a backing that you just peel up once it's down, and the ribbon sticks very nicely to it. And here's the finished card. Another pretty easy one using the kit. The last card we're going to do is another one where we're using the Z-fold panel, but we're going to cut pieces off of it and just use parts of it. So I just cut the piece that has the printed background and a matching cardstock. Again, the colors can be found on the back of the instruction pamphlet in the kit. And I'm just going to cut this down so it fits to be a mat for the cardstock. After I trimmed the one side of this mat that I'm using, I realized that was a little bit short, but I liked the design. So I figured if I could get it to stay, I would use it as an additional piece on the other side to create a type of frame. So it took some thinking of how I was going to get that attached. I also had to trim it down so it matched the same length. Now this front panel piece is part of the kit. As a script that you can read, it's about family. And this is all I'm adding to the front of this. I'm just trying to see how to center it so that my frame will fit and that it's centered the way I would like it. And this is pretty much all I am adding to this front, except for an additional little bird up in the corner. And here's the finished card. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and happy stamping.